Steve Kerr versus Mike Brown. This is very interesting. Going into the series, it was like, oh, Steve Kerr versus the guy who used to coach underneath him. Advantage Warriors. So far, advantage Sacramento in a big freaking way. You saw last night, 20 turnovers, a lot early. It looks like the Warriors have this offense with all this motion and passing and all this stuff, and Mike Brown was on the team and knows the plays, and he's kind of told his team, like, hey, these are the passes, and this is how you overplay everything. And Steve Kerr's like, shit, what do we do now? I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I agree with you. It seems for 2 games. Now, remember, Kerr's won 4 championships. He's a really good coach.
Yes.
But it seems for these 2 games, he's out-coached Kerr. He's out-thought him. But Kerr's really bright. He may come back in Game 3 and out-coach Mike Brown. But I got to tell you, Mike Brown is so impressive. And, he and Kerr both have like they both are really, really good coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I just was interesting with the Kings. I didn't watch them that much in the regular season. I'm getting to know them, and they're supposed to be like a historically great offensive team, but they're supposed to not be good on defense. They won this game last night with defense, and that to me is not because they have great defensive players on their team. Mike Brown had an amazing defensive game plan. He knows Steve Kerr's system, and he knows Draymond Green, and he's working on both those things. And now Steve Kerr is going to have to dig deep, and Draymond's going to have to dig deep because they're already in must-win mode right now.
Yeah, and what's interesting is Mike Brown used to be Kerr's underling.
Yeah.
Underling is the key word. Can we tell the underling story?
We might have told it before, but tell it again. I love this story.
Okay. I had written something. What was the name of the coach that went over? He went over to Sacramento. What was his name? Malone?
Mike Malone.
Mike Malone. Mike Malone. So
yeah.
I had written something in praise of him. And I've compared him to Mark Jackson when he was coach of the Warriors. So it was draft night. And Jackson was hanging around. And you and I went to say, hi, Mark. He was pissed. And he said, I don't see how you could write that about Malone. And he said, he was my underling. And I thought, what a schmuck.
What a schmucky thing to say. What a schmuck. Yeah.
Yeah, to put down the other coach to a journalist. He was my underling. And it was an insecure thing to say, Iggy, don't you think? Arrogant, insecure. So we would agree in that case he wasn't a weasel, he was a schmuck.
Total schmuck. Absolute schmuck move, yeah. See, I think I'd be a pretty good defense attorney. I'd be like, Your Honor, my client is not a schmuck. My client is a weasel. And there's a difference.
I think we could say with confidence, neither Kerr nor Mike Brown is a weasel or a schmuck. They're both straight-ahead good guys. And I think it's also excellent coaches.
I think you can also say that Kerr has no freaking control over Draymond Green, and Draymond Green has no freaking control over Draymond Green, and Mike Brown knows it. So the Warriors going to have to figure that one out.
Right. It's called the schmuck rule.
It's the schmuck rule.
It's the schmuck rule, and Mike Brown is taking advantage of the schmuck rule.
And that's the thing about a schmuck. You can like a schmuck, you can feel for a schmuck, but you know they're going to get taken advantage of for their inherent schmucky nature.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is
you know who takes advantage? You know who takes advantage of a schmuck? A weasel.
Well, not Mike Brown.
They're joined. No.
Sabonis is the weasel, but Mike Brown isn't a weasel. Yeah.
No, Sabonis and Draymond, the weasel and the schmuck. Right. They're it's a combination as old as time. They're drawn to each other. Michael says Draymond got out Draymond and lost it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And it's going to keep happening until he doesn't lose it. When he was yelling at the crowd, it's like, dude, you probably should stop. You look like you're losing your mind right now.
I thought so. It was like, take a deep breath. Take some cleansing breaths. Yeah.
Just rub your ears a little bit. Dad, this was a hell of a show. I love it. Thank you. And I love you. This was a good one.
I love you, Iggy. And I have a couple of things to say in closing. You are neither a weasel nor a schmuck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Because
I
look,
love you.
we all have our schmucky moments, but you just can't abide a weasel. You can't be friends with a weasel.
And by the way, I know weasels in the journalism profession, and you know who I mean. You know the weasels.
Oh yeah, those are the worst.
Yeah,
You need to, one of the most important skills in life, weasel recognition, weasel radar, because they pretend they're not weasels. Schmucks let you know within 5 freaking minutes they're a schmuck, which is why they're a schmuck. Yeah,
But part of being a weasel is to pretend you're not a weasel.
You can hide it. You're the good guy.
Yeah.